Switched it up, switched it up,
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming back for another episode. So tonight's topic is going to be my top 3 kind of rigs that I will always just tie on beforehand, whether I'm fishing a new lake or I'm pre-fishing for a tournament and I just need a base to start from. These are going to be the 3 that I'm going to have tied on most of the time, unless I really know the lake well and I know that, these aren't really going to work, or they're not. I'm going to be on a different pattern. But these are going to be 99% of the time the 3 rigs that I always kind of set myself up with before I get on the water, just so I have something to start with. So number 1 is going to be a Texas rig, and this is going to be set up on a ARC. I have an ARC catalyzer series. I think I've shown this one in a video before. This is a 7'2", medium heavy, fast action. Okay. This is a Abu Garcia Vengeance. I got it on sale. It's actually a pretty good reel. It's lasted a lot longer than I thought it would, but actually a really nice reel. But Abu Garcia Vengeance reel, 20-pound fluorocarbon. This is 100% fluorocarbon. And basically what I have it set up with, and this is kind of my base Texas rig setup. I can use this in a lot of different ways. Hold on, let me get situated here. But 20-pound fluorocarbon. I have a 4/0 worm hook, round bend worm hook, and this is actually a Laser Sharp Pro Series. This is the Scott Martin Pro Series 4/0 round bend worm hook. Side note, these are actually pretty good hooks. I love Trocar as well. I feel like these are on par with some of the Trocars, but we'll talk about that in later videos when I've used them more. But so far, really good hooks. But anyway, worm hook. Then I have a 3/16 ounce tungsten. I don't know if you can see that. Tungsten weight. I love tungsten weights. Ever since I switched from lead to tungsten, I won't go back. I love tungsten weights. They do get expensive, but if you shop around online, you can find good tungsten weights that aren't super, super expensive. I believe I got these off Amazon. It was like $12 for, I think, 10 of them. So not bad at all, and it's a good tungsten weight. I prefer uncoated tungsten. Most of the time when I'm fishing, I like the uncoated. I feel like it hits that hook and makes more noise, but that's just my opinion. And then I also have a bobber stop right there. And I won't bump it all the way down to the weight. I will leave a little bit, free, probably about like that. And then what's great about this is you can rig a ribbon tail. I love throwing a 10-inch ribbon tail. You can throw a Senko on it. You can also throw, let me find one here, a speed worm. You can throw a creature bait or a crawl. You can throw some big worms on it with that bigger hook. So this has a lot of options that you can use this for. So with 3/16 ounce, probably wouldn't use it for this, but also what's nice about having 20-pound fluorocarbon, a nice fast reel, heavy rod, is if I want to do light pitching and flipping, I can, especially if I throw 1/4, 5/16, 3/8 ounce on here. It's not only a casting, for covering water, I can also cover water by flipping light cover with it too. So that's going to be my number 1. Love a Texas rig. I think everybody has probably fished with a Texas rig or should fish with a Texas rig. Highly recommend it. Catches a lot of fish. Number 2. It looked like number 1. Number 2 is going to be a weightless swim bait. Now, this is a Brandon Cobb Series ARC rod. Okay. This is and I never can remember, 7'1". It's a 7'1" heavy fast action rod. This is a phenomenal rod. This is a 13 Fishing Origin reel. Okay. This is a great reel. Nice and fast. I think it's an 8:1 to 1. Yes, 8:1 to 1 gear ratio. 50 to 65 pound braid. I always throw braid. Now, let me explain this. If I am in very clear water and fishing heavier cover, I might throw a fluorocarbon leader on this. Just a short one, you know, 1.5 feet, 2 foot, just to be on the safe side. I have noticed sometimes I get more bites doing that. But 99% of the time with the lakes that I fish, I'm fishing darker water, heavier cover, the braid works fine. And this is also something that they're probably not going to have time to look at the line. So, but this is a 4/0, I believe. No, I'm sorry, 5/0 EWG hook. This is just a Bridgemasters brand swim bait. I also throw Gambler, Kitech, Rippin' Lips lures, a bunch of other ones, Bitters brand swim baits. There's a ton of them out there. They all work great. They all have their place. And then I just tie straight to the braid using a Palomar knot. And then you got your EWG hook, and I just have it rigged weedless. You can see the hook right there. It's just Texposed right there. Okay. Now, I run this weightless. The reason I do that is because it has multiple purposes when I do this. So I can fish at topwater. I love a topwater swim bait. I seem to get more bites on a swim bait, burning it across the top, than I do, let's say, like a Zoom horny toad or any of those soft plastic toads that you see out. I catch this. It also comes through cover better, which is awesome. I fish heavy cover, so that helps a lot. But I get so many more bites on these than I typically do a frog. But the beauty of this setup, and this is why I always have it rigged, is the fact that I can throw a soft plastic frog on this. I can also throw, do I have one? Well, here's an example. Here's a pack. A fluke. I can throw a fluke on this rig and bring it through pads, grass, reeds, whatever, over hydrilla, you know, whatever cover there may be. I can also throw a fluke on there. If I'm fishing heavier cover and I want to let it sink, this sinks really nice and slow. So I will actually utilize this in the wintertime. Here in Florida, now this is not everywhere. This is just my experience in Florida. Most of the time when it is cold, the bass, some of them go deep. I do agree with that. 90% of the time, the fish actually go shallower and tuck up into really heavy cover, whether it be, you know, docks with a ton of post under there or really, really thick reeds. They seem to like to have a wall on both sides of them and behind them. That's just what they do. They tuck up in the cover. They really don't move much. But if you can throw this bait on them and it slowly drops, that paddle tail is kicking as it's going down, you can get wintertime bites on this and no problem. Now you might have to downsize this. I could probably use this in wintertime down here. We don't have extremely cold temperatures, but you know, you don't want to, you know, throw something like this in the wintertime down here. They might not bite it. But you downsize your swim bait a little bit, go to like a 3.5 inch, max 4 inch, you can get a lot of bites in the wintertime on this. So that's why I like to have this set up, because it's kind of versatile. You can do a lot of different things with it. You can throw a Senko on it up in there. You can even throw a weightless speed worm if you want to, you know, burn that through there. You can throw swim baits, frogs, flukes. You can do a ton of stuff with it. So that is one of the main things I will always have tied on, because it's versatile. So that's number 2. Let me get this put up. Now number 3 is pretty much a must-have year-round. And it's because sometimes I find myself in tournament situations where I have to fish a dock. I have to skip docks, because down here in Florida it's so hot. They like to tuck up under docks. So if I can't catch them anywhere else, I can pretty much guarantee that I can probably get a bite underneath a dock, which is great. So I will always have a wacky rig set up. Now I use spinning. I do have a bait casting rod and reel combo designed for skipping that I will use. I like to mainly skip lighter jigs with it, small little, you know, Senkos and crawls and stuff like that. I do use that, but most of the time if I'm skipping a dock, it's going to be with a wacky rig and a spinning reel. Now this is a 13 fishing Source F1. Again, I got a great deal on this. They had it on sale at one point. Excuse me. They had it on sale at one point, and I think I ended up getting the combo for like $45. This thing has been a workhorse. It's been a great reel. No complaints. The rod's great. Has a little bit of a softer tip, but yet it still has plenty of backbone. So this is great for skipping under docks or even just casting along grass lines. But what I have on this is 30-pound braid. And I have thrown heavier braid before. I've thrown 50 on this, and it still does fine, but I prefer 30. So I just happened to, at that time, I only had 50, so I threw it on there. But I use 30-pound braid. Now, the braid that is on both of the reels that have braid here is the Trilene, and that's the big game braid. I don't care what anybody says. I have had no trouble out of this braid. It's very strong, lasts a long time, and it's cheap. This spool is $18 to $19, and you get 330 yards of braid. So keep that in mind. I think I spoke about this in my line video, but this is great braid. So 30-pound Trilene braid. And what I do is I typically like to go down, let me put this here, to a fluorocarbon leader. You can see my knot right there, but I go to a fluorocarbon leader, and this kind of depends on how gnarly the docks are. So what a lot of people might say is I go overkill. I would rather go a little overkill and not lose that fish during a tournament than, you know, to go with lighter line and take a risk of losing that fish. But you got 30-pound braid down to I believe this is a 14-pound leader. But I have also gone up to 15-pound, 17-pound. So, but most of the time I'll go with a 14-pound with the 30-pound braid, and this is great. It's good and strong, nice and clear, and it's really abrasion resistant. So if I'm knocking this off a dock post all day, that is not going to fray whatsoever. This leader line is also Trilene. It's the Trilene Big Game Fluorocarbon. Been using it for a while, no issues. And I believe this is $11 for a 350-yard spool. Great line, cheap, have had no issues with it. So I highly recommend this. But I go to a fluorocarbon leader, and I like to throw a wacky rig with a little bit of weight to it. I will throw a weightless wacky rig if they're really, really slow. But down here, I've never been in a situation where I had to throw it weightless. I've always liked throwing on a little wacky jig head. Okay, this is a weedless wacky, and this is the Berkley Fusion. You'll see a lot of Berkley and Trilene here. I don't know what it is. They make a great product, and I love them. So Berkley, shout out to you. You guys are killing it for me. This is great products. I love these products. But this is the Berkley Fusion 16th ounce, and it's just called what is it called? The Weighted Wacky Needlepoint. This is a 1/0 16th ounce, and this is great. So, but I'll run that little Berkley Fusion on there. Now this one I just have stuck straight through the bait, but most of the time I am running an O-ring on my Senko when I do this, but I just didn't have an O-ring this time. So, but it's got these little weed guards on it, which is great. That helps it not get wrapped up in the dock post and get hung up too bad. You still will, but not near as bad. So love that. And the beauty of this is you can throw a Senko. I have ran out of Senkos before and wacky rigged a trick worm. It works. You can also, if I have one, you can also thread a craw on this. I have had to thread a craw on there before to catch fish because I ran out of Senkos. So this is a very versatile deal here, and I'm sure you could throw a bunch of other soft plastics on here and skip under docks just fine. But the Senko is going to be my go-to in an array of colors. I have a lot of different colors I like. But this is great for skipping docks, and if those fish just are a little bit finicky, they're a little bit slower, you can typically throw a wacky rig and get bit if all else fails. So I think that's all I have to say about that. That's my 3 #1 rigs that I'm going to have set up before I go into pre-fish a tournament, or I'm fishing a new lake and I just want to have something set up. These are going to be the 3 that I have set up. So guys, please give me your feedback, comment on the videos. Any questions you may have, please ask me. If I do not have the answer to it, I will definitely try to find somebody who does. I greatly appreciate you watching, and I will see you on the next one.